What's up guys, Chris VA Travels here in downtown Richmond, Jackson Ward, and going to visit the Maggie Walker house and trying to find the entrance. Also apologize, I'm filming with my GoPro today. I don't have my nicer camera. Yeah, here we go. Actually, visitor center to the right. You'll see the hours Tuesday through Saturday, 9 until 4:30. And actually, all right, I actually have some time to kill. I'll be taking the 1 p.m. tour. Over here, a picture of her, Maggie. And she was born in 1864, right at the end of the Civil War. All right, so I've got some time to kill. Take a look at the front of the building. But to tell you, Maggie, she was a major leader in the black community here in Jackson Ward, which is a historically black section of town. But she was a newspaper editor, business owner. I think it's gonna be this house down here, if I remember from the pictures. Yeah, anyway, nice wrought iron fence on this building. And cool brackets. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in. The cornice there. And some tall windows right here. Got the Christmas decorations. I believe this is gonna be the house. And yeah, here she is again. Maggie, again born 1864, lived until 1934, so died during the Great Depression. And that's quite a hat she's got on, and I think she's wearing a black dress because her husband died. Yeah, kind of crazy story. He was accidentally killed by their son. They thought he was he had thought their father was an intruder. All right, so let me gather some information. There she is with that hat on again. This photo is from 1905. Don't know what year this picture is, but you'll see the horse and buggy outside. And Maggie purchased this house from an African-American physician named Robert E. Jones, and he's in the carriage. Yeah, she lived here for 30 years. 4 generations of her family lived here. A photo of the inside, of course. Again, I don't know what year, but it looks like there's some pretty nice furnishings in there. And yeah, this lamp shade says early 1900s. Here's a full shot of it. Built in 1893. Maggie moved in 1904. And she added that front porch 1922. And looks like we've got some, I can never tell the difference between limestone and sandstone, but those crowns above the window, those tall, thin windows, pretty nice keystone. You'll see these fluted ionic columns right here in this Scamozzi style, the capitals. Some dental molding right there. And again, really nice brackets up at the top. So, pretty fine home. And again, nice porch right here. Yeah, all right, so little kind of side entrance, doors to the right there, and some pretty nice row houses going down here. Again, good ironwork. So it looks like we've got some pressed brick on the front, and then some add-ons back there. In the 1920s, this block of Lee Street was known as Quality Row. Upper middle class African-American families lived in these homes. The neighborhood, Jackson Ward, became the most enterprising African-American business district in the nation. And that was Black Wall Street, going down just that way. And it was the first Black Wall Street in the South. And this house right here, Reverend J. Andrew Bowler, he lived here in 1915 until 1935. And Lillian H. Payne lived here for 20 years. Here at the beginning of the Black Wall Street stood the Millers and Eggleston Hotels. Opened in 1904, demolished 2009. So this was the hot strip right here. And over here, Alfred A.D. Price, okay, born right before the Civil War. And settled in Richmond in 1870s. He opened a blacksmith shop in 1881. Huh. Back of her house, many add-ons as her family grew. And this was originally her backyard. And this house here was a corner store. when she lived here. And Maggie passed away on the inside. Again, she died in 1934. It was then passed on to her daughter-in-law. That would be Hattie Walker. It's pretty colorful right here. Again, just checking out the brackets. And I see this big mural over here, so I'm gonna walk over and take a look at that. But yeah, Hattie lived here for 40 years. And then it was passed on to her daughter. That would be Dr. Maggie Laura Walker Lewis. Yeah, she owned it for a period of time until it was fell into possession of the National Park Service. I think I can cross. All right, so yeah, just a big mural over here. It looks like African American, just kind of leaders, or I guess just firefighters, police officers. Let's get a shot of this. And at the top, looks like fire department number 9, maybe that's saying, it says first of many. Oh, and this is actually the Mocha Temple number 7 Shrine Club. One of these old fraternal orders with a owl up there. Not doing a good job of keeping that bird away. But, okay, yeah. Just wanted to check that out. Let me walk back over. Oh, and to tell you how this whole thing got started with Maggie, that in 1867, just after the Civil War, a lady named Mary Prost up in Baltimore, she started kind of a self-help organization for African Americans called the Order of St. Luke. And then in 1899, Maggie became its president. And that's how it got started for her. So it looks like that last tour group is finishing up. So I came over to hang out at this bus stop. But to let you know that Mary, she first founded the St. Luke Herald, African American newspaper, and then went on to form the St. Luke Penny Bank. And it eventually consolidated with local other African American banks. And it went on to be the longest continually running African American bank in the country. Something's going down. Oh, there it is. She also started Richmond's chapter of the NAACP. Later in her career, she did tours of the South, going to former plantation communities, also to black sections of the cities up north, talking about her cause. And I think I had forgotten to mention, she also started the St. Luke's Emporium, a good store for the local African Americans here in town. She also started the first Black Girl Scouts here in the South. And she's buried over at the Evergreen Cemetery, which is about 5 miles away. All right, I think it's time. Go in and take the tour. And tickets, of course, are free through the National Park Service. Made it inside the Welcome Center. We've got a picture here of the Maggie Walker High School, opened in 1938, and it's Richmond's second high school for African Americans. Maggie Walker Dormitory, opened in 1951 at the Janie Porter Barrett School for Negro Girls in Hanover County. Maggie Walker had been an early trustee at the school. This is the SS John Brown, and a ship similar to this, it was almost named the SS Maggie Walker. It looks like a group from St. Luke's petitioned Congress, and they were trying to make it happen. Shot of the thriving 2nd Street, known as the Deuce. Yeah, here's the St. Luke Herald, the newspaper she helped start while she was the leader of the Independent Order of St. Luke. All this was happening during Jim Crow, segregation, and while Maggie was opening all these businesses, women still didn't have the right to vote. Photos of some women working here at the Lexington Laundry. Sorting tobacco at the T.B. Williams Tobacco Company here in Richmond in 1899. Fancy lamp Maggie had on display on the newel post in the front hall.
And for anyone who follows my channel, this is where the statue of Sally Tompkins was supposed to appear, but you can still see it at the Matthews County History Museum.
Their churches, their schools, and their businesses. In Richmond, Virginia, Maggie Walker would play her part in all three.
Made it inside the front parlor, and this is where guests would be greeted. Nice light fixture. And when she moved in 1904, that's when electricity was added. And so this was a really modern home for the time. I like looking at the furniture and the furnishings from these old homes. And pretty neat, this one's from the early 20th century, because normally I'm visiting houses from the colonial period or the 1800s. And this back half would be the back parlor. Self-made woman, daughter of a slave. She started with nothing and built herself up to all this. You'll see fireplaces capped. They weren't as important once the heating system was added. She suffered from diabetes later in life, and she got this comfy chair to keep on going. A picture of her from 1930 sitting in the chair. Here we are in the library, and you can see education was really important to her. She was friends with all the black leaders of the time, W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington. These tall ceilings would help the heat rise. These tin ceilings were popular at the time. This room used to be a porch. You see the transom window up there? And it turned into Melvin's den, they call it. And I guess Melvin was a smoker. 90% of the objects in the house are original. Heating pipes, getting that water up to the radiators up above. I believe she called the stove a Lehigh twin. It burns gas and wood/coal. Yeah, I guess the idea is if you run out of gas, you can still cook. Maggie's adopted daughter Polly quite often used this stove. They say she was a really good cook and also served as her nurse. Ice box over here. Put a block of ice in the top. A cold air sinks, so the bottom portion will be used as a refrigerator. An electric press. This was a pretty fancy piece of equipment for the time. Cost $170. It would iron out your sheets. In this room, this laundry room is part of the attachment on the back of the house. You've got a backup stove over here, maybe to heat your irons. This is Maggie's chair, and it was originally upstairs in our bedroom. And this room was used by Polly until 1925, when she eventually moved upstairs to better care for Maggie. Yeah, this house has all the amenities. An elevator to help Maggie go up and downstairs in her wheelchair. Now on the second floor, this room's being used for storage, and this is where the elevator comes out. But yeah, it's pretty neat old items in here. The sleigh bed right here is in Melvin's room, her oldest son. Yeah, it looks like this thing can put off some heat. Bathroom's part of the attachment. The window right there is boarded up. That was originally the back of the house. This is Polly's room when she moved up here again in 1925. That door right there, actually, it goes out to a porch that wraps around and goes into Miss Walker's room. We're now in the guest room. Room's pretty well furnished. You'll see one of those old stereoscopes right there. You look through it and it would give you a 3D image. Almost kind of a tartan blanket right there. Again, all the bells and whistles. She's got a bidet. She got the idea for that when she was up in New York. We're in another add-on here, further back on the house. And it looks like a pretty comfy chair. You'll see to the right, there's a little kitchen and a dining area added back there. And these are her two sons, Russell and Melvin. FDR right there. And her husband Armstead. Again, really neat light fixtures. It really puts you in the time period. And yeah, cool lattice work up here. Maggie's bed. Yeah, and this is where she passed away, December 15th, as I've said, 1934. Diabetes caught up with her. Insulin had just hit the market. Back then, there was no way to test your blood sugar, and if she was alive today, she'd be able to better manage it. Finally, this room back here, this was Russell and Hattie's room.
That's it for Maggie Walker's house. A good place to visit if you're down here in Richmond. I'll tell you, it's right off 95, just a couple quick turns, no traffic. But yeah, I'm gonna hit the road as always, guys. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one.